Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Thursday, November 13th, a little after 6:30 at night, and this is our daily recap video for the YieldMax $1 Billion Club. After today, there's a couple at risk of falling out of that. I might have to change the name. CONY, MSTY, NVDY, and TSLY. They are the four YieldMax individual income option strategy funds that have $1 billion or greater in assets under management. They are based on Coinbase, MSTY, Now Strategy, NVIDIA, and TSLY. I'm on X as well at ETF_Inspector1 if you want a heads up when videos will be premiering or reposts of distribution announcements and things like that. Obviously, it was another horrible day in the market. As we scroll down to find our Coinbase down 6.86%, CONY down 5.91%, MSTR down 7.15%, MSTY down 6.8%, NVIDIA down 3.58%, NVDY down 2.61%, and TSLY down 6.64%, TSLY down 6.3%. So in all cases, the YieldMax fund outperformed its underlying, but everything's down big, so it doesn't make us feel any better. Once again, we'll start with CONY on the trades. All right, and we are starting now to close out a lot of our sold calls and the purchase calls, but we're only really worried about the sold ones that are generating income. And we are rolling everything getting sold for next week. So we closed 310s, 312.50s, 317.50s, 320s, 330s, 332.50s. That brought in $7.3 million. And we sold everything for next week. So now when we switch over to take a look at that, everything in orange as the sold calls, obviously they closed out the long calls to go along with them as well, but we're just looking at what we use to generate income. So we do still have 302.50s, 305s, and 310s in play for tomorrow, 6.8 through 9.5% out of the money. Everything else has now been rolled to next week. They are selling 100% of the possible calls. That is based off of the quantity of contracts of the synthetics. And in this case, they have December 19th, 310s and 390s. Both are underwater. And obviously, after today's horrible day, both are going to be much deeper in the negative when we download the holdings and get the updated values. 1.1 billion in assets under management. So obviously, that's going to drop by a very large chunk. Yesterday, people bought into the fund, though. It was announcement day, so maybe they were happy with that announcement. 1,300,000 shares, bringing the outstanding shares up to just under 201 million outstanding shares. NAV at the start of the day, 553, closing price around 518. Like we said, they announced yesterday an 8.32 cent per share distribution that will be coming out tomorrow, so long as you had the shares today and purchased them prior to today. Next up is MSTY. Lots of trades in all of them, right? So in this case, they putting money to work, adding to the synthetic 270, 2,800 contracts total. So that's going to bring in a lot since it's well below 270. The selling of those puts brings in a ton of money, over 16 million. And the purchasing of the calls way up there at 270 doesn't cost very much. Then they're closing out a large portion. Let me see if it was not everything. Actually, everything that was left for this week, but they didn't close out everything for next week. Okay, so closing 242.50s, 250s, 252.50s, and then even some that were sold for next week closed out some 245s and 250s. Looks like we're selling 225s, 230s, and 235s all for next week. Overall brought in $31 million on the options trading side of things today. Like we said, we've now closed everything out that was in play for this week. We do have some down here for next week. 235s and 240s are still in play for next week, 12 and 15% out of the money, plus everything that we just added today to next week. Only 40% of the possible calls sold currently. So if MSTR gets that bounce, they're going to be able to capture the majority of it within the share price. But it doesn't seem like we're getting a bounce. Strategy's got 4 synthetic combinations here. We've got a December 19th 270, and then January 16th 255, 270, and 300. Again, everything is deep underwater, and everything's going to be much, much worse tomorrow after a 7% drop. There's $2.4 billion in assets under management at the start of the day. People bought into this one as well, trying to get that distribution. 1,650,000 new shares yesterday, bringing them up over 270 million. NAV at the start of the day, 895, closing around 833. And that distribution that they're looking to get is 0.162 or 16.2 cents per share. Next up is NVDY. NVDY also adding to their synthetic. This is a January 16th 200. So it cost $900,000 on the purchasing of the call, and it brought in $2.2 million on the selling to open of the put. That's going to be because NVIDIA is below 200. Then they're closing out 195s. That's all they closed out. 195s they sold for next week. 192.50s and 195s. That brought in a total of $11.3 million. As we can see, they closed out the 195s. The only thing left sold calls or short calls are 190s expiring tomorrow. They're currently 1.6% out of the money. They are selling 100% of their possible calls. When we look at our synthetic, we've got January 16th 195 and 200s. The 195 started the day with their head above water, just barely, but NVIDIA closing in the 180s. That's going to be nice and negative tomorrow. The other one will be even worse. And we did see from yesterday an increase by 300 contracts to these synthetic 200s. There's $1.7 billion in assets under management at the start of the day. People bought into the fund yesterday, 225,000 shares, just under 111 million. And 1557 was the NAV at the start of the day, closing around 1517. And the distribution that will be paid out tomorrow for NVIDY is 14.39 cents. Finally, we have TSLY. So TSLY adding to their synthetic 450 for January 16th. Selling of the 450 puts brought in 3.6 million. Purchasing of the 450 calls cost 1 million. And then they closing out 440s, 442.50s, 445s, 447.50s, 450s, and 455s. And now selling 412.50s, 415s, 417.50s, 420s, 422.50s, and 430s. Overall, collecting $9.3 million on the option trading side of things. Everything is now closed out for this week, and all those new strike prices are sold for next week. All right, looking at our synthetic, we saw an increase of 400 contracts on this 450 for January 16th from yesterday. Both, again, 450s and 470s are underwater and going to be much worse once the upload comes out, and because the underlying dropped by 6.6%. There's $1.2 billion in assets under management. People bought into the fund yesterday, 1.2 million shares, and 157,800,000 outstanding shares. NAV just below $8 at the start of the day. Now they're just below $7.50. 99%. I don't know why they're not selling that last 1% of the calls, but distribution for tomorrow on TSLY is 9.64 cents per share. All right, that's all I have for you. I got a dad joke, and today the two dad jokes are going to be related or similar, so you got to watch both videos to get a laugh at both of them, see the similarity. So thank you for watching. Appreciate all the likes, shares, comments, and feedback. And so here's your dad joke. The shovel was a groundbreaking invention. That's it. All right, have a good night. Good luck trading tomorrow. Don't forget to close out or roll your options that are expiring tomorrow because it's Friday. Catch you in the next video.